Hi, my name is Elazar. Today I wanted to unpack, just take a look at one of the most just diversely written songs. It's called I Come Blood by Cannibal Corpse. We'll start with the beginning lines. Swollen with liquid, ready to burst, a load of my lymph will quench this dead body's thirst. I think that's fascinating for several reasons. One thing I would like to point out here is the rhyming of burst with thirst. The idea of a dead body feeling thirst, what does that mean, you know? Like, is it that this corpse is actually a zombie? Or is it that even when we are dead, the neediness that is instilled within us through capitalism doesn't go away? Is that maybe it? Effing the rotting. My semen is bleeding. If you look at it at its core right now, what Corpse Grinder is trying to tell us is that this is a story about loss. Do you see how he's aware that he is in fact having intercourse with a dead body? Not because he's a bad person, but because something within him is too desperate to say no. Is he trying not just to act out his lustful desire, but actually furthermore to connect? Eyes glassy and vacant, body dug up to play with. The idea, first of all, gorgeous visual here, eyes glassy and vacant. Is this a story about connection? And what does it say about a society in which the only way a man knows how to connect is through violent sex? The idea of sexual intercourse as being akin to play, or maybe even being the same as play, is a beautiful thought. It's profound even. We have sort of the zenith, or nadir, if you want to think about it that way, of the piece, which is when he says, I come blood from my erection. There was some other stuff, here. Her body exceptional. She thought I was normal, but I wanted more. But what does it mean to ejaculate blood? It's piercing social commentary on the way that we segregate ourselves and isolate ourselves from other human beings based on some, superfluous standards of normality. What could drive someone to something like that? What could have gone wrong, That's a question he leaves unanswered. We will never know. And that's the power of poetry and the power of all written mediums. You have to sometimes fill in the gaps, because this world was not created with you in mind. Sometimes you have to find the answers yourself. That's what Corpse Grinder is pushing you to do. He's telling you that the answer is in your hands, and that you are the only one who can find it. Body buried in a shallow grave, unmarked for none to find, the sickness I left behind, undetected go my crimes, the greatest thrill of my life. There's some gory imagery of him, I believe, trying to give himself a circumcision or something along those lines. And finally it goes to, back from the dead, I am resurrected to spew, putrefaction. This is one of the most beautiful climaxes, or I dare even say crescendos, you'll see in modern extreme music. There's a vitality, rawness to it, much like the body which he is attempting to touch. And I think that through this story, we can see man's struggle with himself, a struggle for intimacy, a struggle for connection, a struggle to reclaim who he is, a struggle to understand the nature of death and capitalism. How are we changed by our environment? These are all questions that Corpse Grinder dares to ask, and I think you should too. Because I Come Blood is not a song. It is a question. It's a question to you on whether you